Shalom. In this week's Parshat Emor, we encounter the commandment to the Kohanim, the priests, that they are not to be in contact with a dead body, with the exception of 7 special relationships: spouses, parents, children, or siblings. And these 7 relationships are also what are traditionally considered mourners, with special obligations to observe the death of loved ones. The high priest, the Kohen Gadol himself, was not to be in contact with the dead of anybody, even family. And so it's real interesting of what is it about this, about being in contact, being close to death and loss, that is prohibited here. And on a biblical level, there's this idea of ritual impurity, that death carries a certain kind of space that the Kohanim, that the priests were not able to, could not contract because of their service in the temple. But there is also a psychological dimension to this. When somebody is close to us dies, we can be angry at God. It can break our sense of connection, of fairness. Why did it have to happen? And if we are leaders in a community, as the Kohanim or the priests were, then it can be very difficult for us to hold the space for others to be able to go through their grieving process and work out their relationship with God, with making meaning of what's happened. So Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi of blessed memory connects this idea of the Kohanim and death to respond to the question, why is it in the last 30 years that we have seen so many Jews seeking spirituality in other religious traditions, Buddhism, Hinduism, and yoga? Pretty much wherever you go, ashrams, yoga studios, we find Jews that are involved. Even some of the top American Buddhist teachers these days are Jews. So what is it about this phenomenon? And Reb Zalman teaches that after the Shoah, the Holocaust, our leaders were very angry at God. Our teachers, our rabbis. It was difficult to tap into the reality of a loving, connected presence that was so necessary to help people through that time. And so the Torah that was taught after the Holocaust was one that was filled with fear, with anger, and there was not the kind of connection that was needed at that time. So what Reb Zalman teaches is that God wanted the Jewish people to connect to him, to God. And so he sent teachers from other traditions who did not have the same kind of traumatic experience that our Torah teachers did after the Shoah, to help connect Jews through yoga, through meditation, through these different paths, until they could find a place to come back to their own heart and soul. And we find this. We find not only do we see Jews in other traditions, but we see our Torah these days being taught in a way that is loving, connecting, spiritual, and so many of our people have found their way back to our community from this place of love and connection.